I can't
Stefan,
tell you how. No, go ahead.
if you want me to be co-host so I can let people in while you're talking, I
Yes,
can
who
do
is
that.
that? There you go. I got
Antoine.
you right now. Thank you so much. Y'all really that's great. So the wonderful Patty has been here all day, and I told her, just take off and we got the rest of the few sessions. Thank you so much. Y'all, it's been amazing. We're not even at half point of this week happening, and the caliber of people just giving of themselves, giving away so that we're helping one another. It's unreal. So, and this is the first, y'all 5 years, you're gonna be say, oh, I was one of the speakers, or I was at the first National Black AI Literacy Day a week. And again, I want to put that back on Patty because I went to her, she's my SCORE mentor, and said I wanted to take what we were doing with Black AI Think Tank, which just blew up really fast, and take it and make it an entire day. And she said, I don't think you can do enough in a day. Let's make it a week. And literally with this phone and AI and getting some leaders in place, this whole thing came out, and here we are. And the caliber of folks are amazing. Keep on coming in the room. So with that, I just want to thank you all, and I'm gonna hand it over to Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeff again, Jeffrey or Jeff?
Jeffrey. I think that's where you're leaning towards. So we can do Jeffrey.
Okay. My best friend growing up in DC was
Sure.
Jeffrey Hill. So
No
good
problem.
to have you. And
No,
good to
no.
have you, Keontae. Both of y'all. You got it. Do
Definitely.
your thing. And if you want to share your screen, just let me know. You can do that too. And
Yeah.
hey, lastly, if you're in the chat, just put in there where you're from. We're kind of adding this list because we got people that have come from Portugal, Hawaii, UK, and all types of things. So if you don't mind, put it down there. And we're recording. It's all you, Jeffrey and Keontae.
Okay. Excellent. All right. We're good. Good to go. Can you see my screen?
Perfect. Yeah, we got you.
Excellent. One moment. Gotta, Here we go. All right. Now, okay. Here we go. Excellent. All good. All right. So welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this workshop. It is essentially on how to personalize and create your own AI. And we're going to create our own ChatGPT bot from our data. Um, Now, this is for the National Black AI Literacy Week. As you can see, my name is Jeffrey Scruggs. Um, I also have a master's degree in software engineering. Um, Quite the story, but let's get into the workshop. So, the other thing is we also have the data that we'll be training today is on an HPC Universe Summit. So essentially, not only am I a software engineer, but I'm also the CTO of a company called Venture for Them. And essentially, Venture for Them, we have pitch competitions, we help businesses get grants, mainly minorities. And we also have our own conferences and summits as well. Recently, we had a summit on February 24th this year for Black History Month at Morgan State University. We had over 450 people attend, and it was great. And we had a variety of panelists. We had great speakers. We had great workshops. We had Google, the whole metaverse component. Google sponsored. They did a workshop. We even got congratulations from Vice President Kamala Harris as well as Governor Wes Moore. So with that, we have we have a variety of speakers. So let's get into our introduction. So our objective is to develop an interactive AI assistant to explore and answer questions about the HPC Universe Summit. So we have all these panelists, and wouldn't it be nice, if you could ask the questions to the panelists directly, or let's say, sometimes we go to these conferences and we're more of a passive person when we're listening. We can't make everything. So wouldn't it be nice? I see this in the future where after a conference or after a summit, an AI will be released where you can ask questions about that particular conference, that particular summit, so that let's say you weren't able to make it or you missed one, now the AI is unlocked for that conference, like a day later for maybe an extra fee or something like that. And now you can ask questions all about it and just really dive into the data. So that's where I see the future going. So this is such a background. This is such a unique use case. As I was saying, we often attend these conferences and we're more passive about the information given to us. And we can have AI trained on all the information given at these conferences as we go to answer questions to it, as well as for it to provide insights. So let's get into technical overview of this. Um, this is the tech stack we'll be using. We'll be using Python. As you know, my AI friends, that is the main programming language used in the artificial intelligence and machine learning world. We will also be using the OpenAI API. As you know, ChatGPT created by OpenAI, well, they have they have their own API where you can kind of create your own AI systems using their service if you're a programmer. So this AI system where you can make calls to their powerful AI model like ChatGPT 4 or text to speech, which essentially takes text and puts it into speech. It has a voice component, and you can create your own apps using their API. And that means application programmable interface. So that's that. And then finally, we have the other tech library we'll be using is Streamlit. This is an open source app framework specifically for machine learning and data science teams. It turns data scripts into shareable web apps in minutes. So, oftentimes we want to get our machine learning and data science projects into the hand of the masses quickly. But sometimes it can take some time making a website, and we just want to get like the meat of what we're trying to do and show it to people. So this library called Streamlit allows us to do this very quickly. So what do we do first? First, we want to create our own API key. So with that, you simply go here, https platform.openai.com/API keys. And you go create your own API key. It's very simple to do. Make sure you have a card that will start taking charges, but like each call is less than a penny. Honestly, it's quite doable. And you'll get your API key right here. Mine's hidden for obvious reasons. I don't want you charging. So and that's the first step. And then next, we have our OpenAI assistants. This is the interface that OpenAI has, and this is where you can create your own chatbots. So you have your playground, assistants, fine-tune batches, storage usage, so on and so forth. We're going to get into that in a moment. So this is where you would go platform.openai.com/platform/assistants. Next, after you've been there, let's create our own assistant. So first, we're going to name it. We're going to call this HPC Universe GPT Beta, and we're going to give it some basic instructions. So we're going to instruct the AI, like this is from a system level. Like, what is your purpose? So we're going to give it instructions on what it is. And our instructions from a system level is that you are a helpful assistant who has been trained on the transcripts of the HBC Universe Summit hosted at Morgan State University in February 2024. You are able to answer questions about the summit and give insights and analysis about the talks that happen. After that, you've been given its basic instructions. We select the model. We are doing GPT-4 Turbo. Since then, GPT-4o has come out, but we're going to be using Turbo for this example. And then we're going to enable file search. So you can actually upload your own data, books, documents, whatever, into a database, and you can make calls to that. And then you can grab the vector ID. So this file search, I essentially uploaded transcripts of a variety of text documents of all the talks that we had. And this is actually an example. We had, let's see, this is an example text of what we had. Essentially, it's transcripts of, we had a lady named Dia Sims, who came. And this is an example of the text document of the transcript of everything, like the summary of her talk, as well as like transcript of everything she said in that keynote. And you can just grab this from YouTube. So, any talk, you can make your own AI from that, So with that, you upload that into your vector database. Now, next, we have something called temperature. Now, this is kind of what I call, these are more for the technical people. This is like a creativity tuner. So how creative do we want our AI to be? Do we want to sound like a straight robot, or do you want to have some flavor, some creativity into it? So if you have a lower temperature from 0 to 0.5, the responses are a bit more deterministic and consistent. it's more likely to use words that's been used in its training, and it's more predictable in its words. It's a bit more stable. Essentially, what that means is it's more robotic, um, but it's very accurate. And then you have a higher temperature from 0.6 to 1, and that's kind of like a perfect balance. It's like accurate, but it's still being a bit creative with its words. It's not going to use everything verbatim in the data that's been trained on. Then you have very high temperature. It's very creative, but sometimes it may not be the most coherent or the most relevant because it's just using synonyms that aren't exactly per se accurate. So that's temperature. For our example, we're just going to keep it at a 1. I like creative, and that's just how I move. So then there's also top P. And this is also another creativity tuner as well. So this affects our output. It controls how much risk or randomness you introduce into the word. So the words, how random, or I like to put top P as how large is its vocabulary. So the higher vocabulary, the higher P value you have, close to 1, means you have a lot more diversity and but in its words. So it has a much larger vocabulary versus if you have a lower P, essentially it will be less creative. It will only use words that have been used in its training set, and it won't be as creative. So that's another kind of creativity tuner. So now let's get into the code. First, we have our code overview, slide 1. We're going to set up our environment. Before you start anything, you want to remember our libraries that we're using is Streamlit and OpenAI. To install that, you simply do a pip install Streamlit, pip install OpenAI. Python programmer, you know what I'm talking about. So next, after that, you want to import Streamlit as ST, and then you want to import your OpenAI, and then you import OS. That just allows us to access um, our system, like our libraries, our system files. First, and then next, what you want to do is initiate your client. So this essentially grabs that API key that we had. So in our program environment, we want to get that API key because essentially this lets OpenAI know who's accessing their system. And then we want to grab our assistant and vector store. So ID. So assistant ID, that's that AI that we created earlier today. And then we have our vector store ID, and that's essentially is the data that we put in. So you have your assistants, your AI, then you have all the data that it's been trained on. So we're grabbing that next. And then next we have code overview, slide 2. And this is the main function to ask questions. So first you create a thread, and then you want to attach, your files, your vector store ID. You can get this from the OpenAI docs. I say, everybody wants to use code, ChatGPT to write code, but it's stuff like OpenAI where things are being changed rapidly. It can't keep up. So sometimes you just have to go into the documents, look it up, and write the code yourself. So with that, after that, you create run. I literally got this from the documents. This is like you're running. This is essentially how it's going to make calls to the OpenAI system. And you have your handle annotation citation. So when it prints out, it's a little bit of a jumbled mess. So you have to format it properly. So that's how it handles the citations and the annotation citations. That's this block of code right here. And then finally you return it. And then you have a \n because it's going to be all jumbled up. You want it to have like neatly ordered. So there's that. And then slide 3, this is a friendly interface for our customized ChatGPT bot. We don't just want it to be text. And we just don't want to give a system output. So what I've done is we've also created a friendly interface with Streamlit. And essentially, first it'll have a title that says HPC Universe GPT. It'll have ask a question about the HPC universe. Then it'll have a button that says ask, and you'll press that button, and it'll have a waiting for a response. It'll have a little waiting response thing. And then from the code we had before, you put in your question, and it'll essentially work with the code that we had before to give the same thing, but with an interface. And that's kind of what we're going through here. It'll have your answer. It'll have like, you can specify how high like the blocks are, how high the essentially the text output will be and such like that. You'll have a button for listen to response. So we'll also, as a bonus for you all, is not only will it print out the text, but we're going to add an audio component so that you're not just reading. You will also be able to listen to what's being said, and then you'll also have a button to close the program as well. So there is that. So that's our friendly interface. And I have a video. However, I'm more of a live demo kind of guy. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to give you a live uh demo in action, you know. Um so
Jeffrey, this is amazing. This is really amazing.
thank you. So with this live demo, we just do streamlit run beta interface.py. Well, that's the name of the file I gave this. So just streamlit run whatever the name of the file is. And this is all the code that we used before, same thing. And enter. And then here is one moment. I screen. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, we have our HPC Universe GPT. This is our little interface that we created very quickly. So let's start with a preliminary question. Tell me who the panelists are at the summit and what did they talk about? Ask. So now it's essentially, diving deep into that data. And then it's going to essentially give us our answer, based on all the data that it's been trained on. Takes a moment, 20 seconds. The only thing is, with ChatGPT, usually it gives you the text as it's going. Because we have it in this interface, we have to wait until all the text has loaded, and then we can see it. That's why it takes a little bit longer than what you're familiar with. So we have our response right there. We have all our talks, and I can you can read it, but I think it's a little bit better if we listen to it as well. So you can see it gave us like all the panelists, what the talks were about, who they were, all the titles and such like that. But let's just listen to it speak on this. So the question was, tell me who the panelists are at the summit and what did they talk about? And this is our AI bot that we built. This is its response in audio.
The HBC Universe Summit featured various panelists discussing a plethora of significant topics. Here's a concise overview of the panelists and the themes they covered during the summit. 1. Money Talks, the future of digital currency. Panelists: Rakia Finley, managing partner, Copper and Vine Studio Co., CJ Lawrence, founder and CEO of Black with No Chaser, Tisa Silver Kennedy, Eddie D., author and collegiate financial wellness expert, James W. Peterson Jr., VP, Small Business Ambassador at M&T Bank, Sharifa Munis, founder and executive director, NWF, and host of Distinctly You podcast. Topics: focus on understanding and leveraging digital currencies amidst economic uncertainties. 2. The future of tech and innovation. Panelists: Bianca J. Jackson, MBA, PMP, Chief Innovation Officer of Brick Rose Exchange, Ariane Long, Chief Executive Officer of Femly, Brandon Andrews, Chief Product Officer of Gage, Eric Brown, Jr., Chief Transformation Officer of ELVT Coaching and Consulting. Topics: exploring contemporary technologies, their trends, and how these can be integrated into businesses and entrepreneurship.
So that's example. It goes on. And it just goes into each panelist. We had four panelists, and it gives a citation for each one as well. So not only will it lets you know it's not just making it up. It'll pull the exact documents that it pulled from. The future of tech and innovation, that panel, or the keynote speaker, Dia Simmons, or the Money Talk panelists that we had. It'll pull from right there. And it gives us it in real time. So, hey, it's not just making it up. It actually quotes and cites where it's getting this data from. So that is the audio component. That is, did anybody have any questions? Want to ask it anything before I move on? Um, or test it out if you'd like, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, where'd you get that voice from?
Essentially, OpenAI has their own voices. So they have like essentially they have a variety that you can choose from. That it's pretty. I think it's pretty good. But they're actually releasing a new version in the next month that's very realistic. I know everybody heard a bit about the kind of controversy with I think it was Scarlett Johansson. It was very realistic. They haven't released that one yet, but that is it's very realistic. It's coming. I think they had a little bit of law issues, but it's coming. It'll be even more realistic. Let me see. Yeah, so there's that. Any other questions before I move on? Or did anybody want to ask anything about the GPT, about the HBC Universe Summit? Is Latoya?
Yes,
You
I was
can-
gonna ask two things about the voice. I need it for my audiobook. Can we get it? Because it sounds so smooth. It sounds like us. So was this one you guys created, or you pulled? You were saying it, but I wasn't quite questioning. I'm a little slow sometimes. Were you pulling it from OpenAI,
Yes,
or this
I
was
pulled it
something?
from
Okay,
OpenAI, and it's all that's the beautiful thing. Like you can use their entire thing, their entire assistance. Create your own AI system straight from there. You don't have to go to like this website or create your own or stuff like that. It's all there. You can just create it right there. So yeah.
okay,
Hey,
okay.
really quick, where's it gonna live at? Like, if you wanted to take what you're doing right now and put it somewhere where you could generate revenue and it would be monetized, where's it gonna live? And is OpenAI taking some of that money?
So every call I ask a question, it costs a little bit of money,
Hmm.
like a 100th of a cent. It's
Hmm.
cheap. It's very, very cheap. So every question it's like a tenth of a cent.
Hmm.
Um, but the amount of quality that you're getting from this, is amazing. And the fact you could upload an entire book and start
Yeah.
asking questions about it, that's amazing for less than a penny, each question. So it's a little bit, but you can take the code that we had and implement that into your website, into your app, whatever you'd like. And that's the whole point of the API. And so you can just
Hmm.
bring this bot or this what we've created into whatever you want to make.
Okay, now who owns what you're creating right now? Who owns, like, if it has their if you create something with this, who's ultimately has the IP of it? If it's you and OpenAI.
It's me. It's definitely
Okay.
me. Data is mine. Nobody can come in and shut it down. Unless I mean, technically, if you say something that's against the law,
Mhm.
they'll come in regardless. But as long it's my data. I don't have to worry
Got it.
about that. I own the rights to this.
It's
Um,
amazing. Hey, Philip was next. Philip, go ahead.
Yes. Thanks, Stefan. I was wondering what data you uploaded to it because I saw you with a transcript from a keynote speaker. Was there some additional data you uploaded?
Yes, there was. There's a variety of text documents that we had. So, as you know, at our Universe Summit, we had a variety of panelists, and essentially they were all recorded and on YouTube, And now they have a feature on YouTube where you can just go click and get the transcripts for whatever video, So like we had four panelists, and then we had a keynote speaker, and each text document is a transcript of that panelist. So
Nice.
yeah, and it's just been trained on what they've talked, and like that's kind of how we did it.
I use GLASP for that, GLASP, to go and grab anything off of YouTube and just grab the transcript. Do you have one that you recommend?
Um, I for this, I Glass is good. I simply just YouTube has it. You can just go straight to YouTube and press the transcript button.
Hmm.
But that's what I use. I just went straight to the source. But one thing that I've been working on recently is side note is that you can use OpenAI stuff and create your own. I've been able to take PDFs and turn them into text documents, which is quite useful. So that's a side thing. But yes, so yeah, I just essentially use YouTube's transcript button, and I just pretty much copy and paste it from there. It's
Got
gonna
it.
do it. Anything else from anyone else before I move on?
Do
Uh,
you really quick, do you recommend this? Because a lot of people we've been learning the last few days want to create their own stuff, their own bot, their own language. Do you recommend doing something like this that's kind of tied to OpenAI and yet, it's not like they take all the money from it. Do you recommend that?
yes, highly because they have the best models. It is the state of the art. I think people should build on OpenAI. It's kind of like Google, or YouTube. Like you can try to like make your own. You can try to like make your own, I guess,
Hmm.
a search engine, but it'd be better just to work with them, especially when they have all the state of the art stuff. I think there were other competitors to YouTube early on, but it'd be better just to create your own channel on YouTube and
Yeah.
build off of that. And so this is a really good time early on. It's like the beginning of YouTube. Like remember all those people that started out in the very beginning, they all became huge because they were
Mhm.
there. So this is definitely it.
Great.
So, and I
And
know our people are very apprehensive to new technologies. Let's not be apprehensive to this one. Let's dive in. So, yeah. Um, so there's that. And so I'm gonna exit this. Um, and essentially that was pretty much it. And I had a Q&A. Let's stay in contact. Um, you can scan that QR code. Um, You can connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. Try and be cool with me. Follow me on Instagram, try to be friends with me, friend me on Facebook. And also our website, Venture for Them. We're doing amazing things. Keontae, if you want to say anything, um, there you go.
Yeah, I can hop in very briefly. I have one quick request of everybody to go in the chat really quick, find your emoji and find the goat emoji and drop it in there for Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. I think you did an awesome job, my brother. Ultimately, just to tell you guys a bit more about HBC Universe Summit. A lot of the inspiration was Jeff and I, of course, were good friends. We matriculated through Morgan State, both in the engineering program, and what we saw was a lack of support, internal university support for student entrepreneurs, for tech entrepreneurs, and so forth. And so we wanted to make a change. We both studied engineering. Then Jeff went on to take the machine learning route. I went on to take the MBA route. We came together and created Venture for Them alongside the rest of our team. And really, the HBC Universe Summit was to mirror some of the other summits you may have seen, but more so with a focus on HBCU students. We know the HBCUs have been criminally underfunded and often lack a lot of the resources for both student entrepreneurs and student entrepreneurs, and also alumni and so forth. And so we created this summit. We launched it in February, as Jeff had mentioned, for Black History Month. We were able to partner with the White House on this. They brought 10 plus government agencies to help connect students to internships and full-time roles. Specifically for the tech and AI component, we brought in Google and Microsoft, and they did a workshop called Breaking into Big Tech. And it was packed out. Like there was no seating room left. These students were hungry for this. And so a variety of other things. We had a pitch competition sponsored by PNC and gave away $6,000 for student entrepreneurs who had businesses from, VR to sports tech to even CPGs. And so all that to say, it was a phenomenal time. We had 20 plus speakers, 20 plus partners and sponsors, and we are working on another one in the fall. So we'll definitely keep you all posted. So please connect with us on LinkedIn. Please connect with us on Instagram. We'll drop our Instagram because that's where we promote all of our events that's coming up, all of our funding opportunities for anybody who is a founder online. If you have an AI startup or if you're thinking about starting one and you need a launch pad of funding, we connect you guys to all of those resources through channels, whether we're internally giving that funding or we're also sharing opportunities from Black Ambition and Techstars and so many other different channels of how to fund your AI startup. So all that to say, Jeff, I think you did a phenomenal job as always, my brother, for the HBC Universe Summit. I think this is great because even as we think about this AI literacy week, right? I may have missed an awesome session yesterday because I had to work, right? I might have missed Jared's session about RightC and job sourcing through AI. And so I can use a chatbot in a system like this to kind of just get a quick high level recap of Jared's session versus having to rewatch the entire hour session if I don't have enough time. So all that to say that this is definitely a revolutionary component and also aligns perfectly with things like conferences and summits. So please be sure to connect with us, and I'll pass it back over to my brother Jeff if you guys have any other questions.
This is
Updates.
it's amazing. This is what people want to know. You're kind of uncovering it, taking the wrapper off, and several people, in this event have said, y'all can do this. Wallonia is right before y'all said, everybody's saying you can do this. Try this, try that. John Passmore, the same thing. Lauren, you had a question. Do you want to ask it?
I was asking you if it was okay for me to ask it.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's good. And we got a little bit of
Okay.
time. It's
All right, real
7:35.
talk. Jeff, that was amazing. Thank you so much. You rock. Question for a lot of the educators in the room, for the homeschooling mamas, and for the novices in the room. Can you just do a quick down and dirty of programming a GPT with PDFs? And that's it. Like just like giving basic instruction. I put a PDF in there just so they're working with something a little trained.
So, okay, so you want me to do my own workshop on how to convert a PDF into text? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, like, you know how you can make your own GPT and ChatGPT
Right.
without the API calls. Just, I'm talking about like train it with a transcript from this meeting or whatever, and just show them how to do it just on chatgpt.com.
Yes. Okay, so you want me to do that right now?
If the audience would like it,
Yeah, let me.
I know
This is what
there
we
are a
want to
few
know.
educators that were interested in that.
Yeah, that's good.
And let's see.
And we're looking at about 24 minutes, so we're fine right now.
All right. So let's take a look. Assistants. I have a bunch of assistants. Let's
Let me find let me find a PDF or something to drop.
yeah. Have it, if you can, make it a text document.
Okay.
Essentially, sometimes it's hit or miss with the PDF. Sometimes it needs to have text.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know we could do TXT. Okay.
Yeah, anything with words. And that's why I made my own, essentially, I made my own script that'll essentially go through PDFs that you don't have text, that's straight images, and it will pull all the text from those PDFs with like a 99% accuracy rate. So I'm working on a workshop on how to do that as well too. So, yeah. But yeah, so let's call this, quick. Please, when you get a moment, send the text in the text document in the chat, and we'll just simply, create our own assistant. So let's call this AI Black Summits test. But that's what the name will be.
What y'all want the PDF to have in it?
It can be anything. It could be a book, it could be whatever.
Okay.
Let's see. You are an amazing assistant that has been trained on this document. And we're going to use the GPT form model. We're going to activate the file search, which essentially allows us to, upload whatever file you have, and we'll go from there. And you have to send a document over, and maybe I can find something. Let me see. I might have something. Having trouble finding it. Let's see. Oops, my master's degree program. One moment. Let's see.
Lauren, what did you say the subject was of the document, the words that you're sending over?
I just scraped their website.
Okay, excellent.
I was like, might as well. We can learn
Yeah.
more about your website or your business. Um, sorry, y'all.
You're fine.
I have shy typing fingers.
This is where the best lessons come through, live demos, right?
All right, here
Sometime.
we go. Got it. You drop it in the chat.
Black people in a room creating large language models and realizing how we can do it. Y'all, this is very, very powerful.
Oh, it's not letting me take it from my computer. Ah, hold on. Let me save it to Google Drive. I'm sorry, y'all.
You're fine. Fine.
Yeah, we're good. We got 20 minutes.
Any other questions while we're waiting? Anything
Nia
you
is asking, do you have to have the paid version to do this?
um you don't have to have the paid version. However, you do have to have a card because essentially every call after like you have to give it like $5 for instance to
Mhm.
start up. And every call it costs like less than a penny to do that. So you need like a initial, kind of money to have to come in with, even to use this. So there's a billing aspect, but it's very, very cheap. Very cheap.
Uh, so just so we understand,
Can you
because
grab one, Stefan? I'm sorry.
what
It's
do you
not
need?
letting me send that file size through Zoom.
So what do you want to do?
Just a PDF or a TXT, like anything with words in it.
You want to email me?
Oh, yeah, drop that in the chat if you don't mind.
Uh,
My question was, a lot of people want to create their own large language models. We want an information place that we populate. And it sounds like you're saying, y'all, a great tool is using open AI stuff.
mhm.
Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I even think there's a lady, she's making her own chat Black GPT. There's a launch that's happening next week, Erin Reddick.
Mhm.
And she's using OpenAI's, to make hers.
Yeah.
It's state of the art. Like it's like
Mhm.
I would say just go along with it. I know we're apprehensive, but
Mhm.
let's do it. Let's just go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
No, I think it's a good thing because people have been kind of confused. They're like, but I don't want to do it on their thing. I just want only my stuff, only our stuff. But I just want to say to folks, um, it's good. They have a lot of power that's behind them, but we still get to create our own. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I think there's something there. And John Passmore was here earlier just saying his is built, technically on OpenAI.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. So let me know when you send it, Lauren. Just send
Um, Cynthia's saying, is the code available as a template for a novice?
if you know basic Python, you should be good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, let me know when you send it over. You sent it. Okay, so it should be coming in any moment now, as long as it
And
didn't.
while we're stalling, can you show them how to password protect it on the back end?
So I would not put this on GitHub, which is why it's not um there's a process where you can do git ignore, where essentially you ignore files like certain like so for instance, I wouldn't put the API key directly in the script. I would put it in its own file, and essentially make a call to that file to essentially, bring the key in. And when I would upload it into my GitHub, I would essentially say, upload all the scripts, everything like that, but I want you to ignore that file that has the key in it. That's essentially how it would work. It would be a little extensive to do right now, but that's kind of like the high level how it would work. Let's see. I don't see it. Jeff.scruggs23@gmail.com. I can't. Let's see. Jeff.scruggs.
And Kate, while you're doing this, you're saying in the chat, it's great to have you. And if you don't know Python, there are AI tools available. Anything you have, just drop it in the chat. That might be helpful.
Yeah. And that's only if you want to do the API. If you want to test this out, you can do this right away without like actually let me, for the sake of time.
Yeah, I went into that today. Are you going to go into just the thing, make your own GPT?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make you my own
You know,
right
it's amazing. That's what I'm using
Thank you.
for.
I'm sorry. This isn't
now. No, you're
working.
fine. You're fine. You're fine.
I
You're
have to
fine.
restart.
Let me see if I can
This
find
one
a
is
nice
where the
document.
magic is. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a nice PDF document in my downloads to do. Project, right.
That's a good question, Philip. Is there an advantage to using OpenAI versus Microsoft Copilot Studio to do this?
Oh, I know what we can do. I know what we can do.
Yeah, 15 minutes. You're good.
Okay, so what I was originally going to do this on was a book called The Alchemist. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of that. Um, and essentially, The Alchemist is one of my favorite books, and you can do it with PDFs as well. So what we'll do is we'll add the file, um, AI project to do.
You're
I'm
going to grab the entire book.
gonna grab the entire book. Let's see if I can find it. That first tag. And this is the entire book right here. All right. Got it. It's open source, very easy to do. So essentially you just attach that file, boom, and there you go. So you are amazing assistant that has been trained on.
We can't see that.
Yeah, we're seeing something else.
Oh,
You're on the chart right now.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Right here. So I'll do that again. And so essentially, this is the vector store. It has the Alchemist right here. I just uploaded my book. Boom, there you go. So your amazing assistant that has been trained on the book, The Alchemist, in the file. Who has been trained on the book, The Alchemist, in the attached file? There you go. So we're going to use the GPT 4.0 model. That's the quickest one. We're going to keep all of this standard. And with that, AI Black Summit tests Alchemist model. That's what we're going to call it. And essentially what you do after you've done that, very easy to do. You just press playground, right? So now we have our playground. And essentially, you just ask the question. So tell me how many chapters are in the book and give me a short summary on it. Boom. Running retrieval, that means it's actually going into the book, into the files that we looked. So The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho has two main sections, part one and part two, each considered separate chapters in some editions. Additionally, the book has a prologue and epilogue, making for a total of 4 major parts in the structure. The Alchemist follows the journey of a young shepherd named Santiago. He experiences a recurring dream about finding treasure at the foot of the Egyptian pyramids. Prompted by this dream, Santiago embarks on a quest to pursue his personal legend, a concept introduced by a mysterious old king who encourages him to follow his dreams. Throughout his journey, Santiago faces numerous challenges and meets various characters, including a crystal merchant, a Englishman studying alchemy, and a wise alchemist. Each of these encounters teaches him important lessons about following his heart, recognizing and interpreting omens, and understanding the language of the world. Ultimately, after a journey full of adventure and self-discovery, Santiago learns that the real treasure lies within him in the wisdom he has gained. And it actually gives you know, references to where it found each of these points, from the PDF that it referenced. So there you go. Any other questions? Yeah, so that's
Thank you for letting me put you on the spot. I apologize for
oh,
derailing things.
okay. We made it work.
But for the educators in the room, y'all see the implications here. Like, if you have a curriculum or you have a subject that you want your students to learn, you can literally put that information into a GPT and it will be centralized there, and you can call or pull whatever information you want from there later on. You can say, generate me a lesson plan that is compliant with Missouri state regulations. Well, if you put the state regulations in there, it will retrieve them and it will be compliant instead of using an untrained model.
Yep. Yep. So, anything else?
Hey, really quick, where'd you get the book from? You just got the whole book, The Alchemist, in PDF file. Where'd you get that? Was it grabbing off the web?
Yeah, I grabbed it off the web. It's an older book, so it's public domain now. Um, I think it was I can't even remember. I just did a Google search, The Alchemist PDF. There's so many links you can
Yeah.
find it.
Oh.
So we could go and get all types of books and all types of files and train our model
Yep.
on our favorite books, basically.
Yes, and then ask questions to it. Give analysis, whatever. Make it work.
I told somebody, I think this is going to happen, that somebody decides to make their own counselor and they're going to go and grab all the books that have been influential to them, all the speakers, all the people who do all this type of work, make people wellness and all of that. Just grab it and put it in one thing so that it's the things um, that you really identify with. You put a face with it and you do like DID, like some people are doing, or like you're going to see Eric doing a little bit, and you kind of have your own inspirational character that's built on everything about you and everything that you love. So you're actually building it off stuff. So there's kind of the sky is the limit for this.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Did you say you were going to show us how to convert a document from PDF to Word?
So that's for another
Oh,
talk. So
okay.
not today. That's just something else, a side project.
Okay, and also, is there a limit on how many files? Can you upload, I guess, unlimited files to this?
So it's interesting. When it first came out, this assistance tool, you could only upload, I think, 20 files. And since the upgrade recently last month, you can now upload 10,000 files. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, it's quite the upgrade. So that's why I say just build on this, because nobody can compete. Like, it's just great. So just build on top of it. That'd be the best way to go about things. So
That's great. Anybody else? Any questions? We got probably 2 minutes left. KB
Yeah.
says this is a dope concept. Who was that who was talking
I
just now?
I have one last question. So if you wanted to publish this, is that what you were saying you were doing with the API, or how would you, I guess, disseminate this out?
yes, so you can essentially kind of, whenever you have a website or an app or whatnot, you usually write code for that. So essentially, the API allows you to make calls into your AI that you just made, um, and pull it into your app or your website or whatever you're trying to do. So
Okay.
that's kind of what the whole programming aspect was for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, anytime. So, well, with that, thank you very much. My name is Jeffrey Scruggs. I'm with Venture for Them, CTO. Thank you for having me. Um, Black AI Literacy Week. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been great. So,
Well, thank you all for being here. Y'all, this is just amazing. It's just doable stuff. You took ideas and concepts that we want to know about, and you broke it down and you made it doable. We learned to read tonight, basically, and that's a language that you said y'all can do this and use ChatGPT for it. Uh, I think it's extraordinary. Everybody should make sure you're following what they're doing right now. I'm behind it. Anything we can do with you. We're doing these quarterly, and then every week we have something that's going to be presented by Black AI Think Tank, and we'd love to have y'all involved in every way. So, with that, it's been amazing. Keontae, thank you so much. Y'all are powerful. Hey, is Zaria working with you?
Yes, yep. So actually, she was a judge for one of our pitch competitions that we had a couple weeks ago, one of the local ones. And so moving forward, she did speak of an event coming up in the fall too that she wants to loop us in on. So definitely some collaborations on the way.
Yeah. So Zaria will be speaking tomorrow night. She talks about money. She talks about where some of the money is, why it's sitting there, and we just don't know where to find it. So Zaria will be here tomorrow night. We'll be doing an interview with her. And the next thing we have is deep fakes, y'all. It's a very, very exciting room that is looking forward to, and that's Eric Brown who's doing it. Jeffrey, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody else. 43 people in here got educated tonight. So I see Kate says, show me the dollars. I love it. All right, with that, we're gonna close it up and we're gonna open the waiting room to the other room. Amazing. Jeffrey, I'll be in touch with you, Keontae. Y'all make sure you're following both of them. Yes, Zaria at 7 p.m. Yes, there you go. That's great. And I'm gonna close the room in 5, 4, and Maya, I hope you can come